several meetings with those operators in the last 2 weeks. So we're working on some great experiences for those students, but as that could also be something for your clients. So let's go beyond the World War I memorials, and we can already see a certain mix here. The cycling. So these are two cyclists that explore the Flanders Fields area by bicycle. So the area is flat, it's easy to navigate around. So cycling is really one way to move around once you have arrived in a destination. If you wanted to venture out a little bit further, there are some iconic cycling routes that combine the best of Flanders. So there's various routes available, for example, along the coast, which is in the upper left-hand corner. That light blue route, you can see that's the coastal route where you can explore the coast. You can also do different other routes, for example, the Art Cities route, which is the red one, which leads you all the way from Brussels up to Antwerp, Ghent, and Bruges, and to the coast. Of course, you don't need to cycle the whole distance, but you can always do part of it. We also have new cycling routes that we call Flanders' finest cycling routes, which are much, much shorter. They are all loops. So you start and end in the same spot. So just some randomly picked one here, as you can see, arts and heritage and nature routes. The first one is 41 kilometers long, the other one 58, and the last one 36. So in total, we have 25 of those beautiful routes that showcase and combine the best of Flanders. And as I said, the area is really flat. It's really easy to cycle. You can easily get a rental bike and then be out there, get some fresh air and cycle around. For the more sportive cyclists, we also have a challenge, which we call the Flandrian Challenge. As you know, Flanders is the home to sportive cycling. Amazing races that are going on there. 59 segments within the Flandrian Challenge need to be completed within 72 hours. And if you manage that, you will become a true Flandrian hero. And what it means is that your name will be engraved on a little miniature cobblestone and displayed in the Cycling Museum in Oudenaarde. That's where the finish line is of the Tour of Flanders. And you will be famous because your name will live there forever, and it will also be placed on the website for those riders that have completed the challenge. So this is really for the sportive clients that want to go there and really knock themselves out. But of course, apart from cycling, we also have an amazing hiking network. It's very similar to the cycling route network. I just randomly picked a screenshot here of the hiking routes around Ypres and Flanders Fields. So as you can see, there's a ton of hiking trails that you can go on. If you're very ambitious, you might even consider walking the Western Front Way, which leads all the way from the Belgian coast to Switzerland. But of course, if you are less ambitious, just hiking in the Flanders Fields area alone is already an accomplishment. Now let's move on to some refreshments, because when we cycle, we need to refresh a little bit. And then one way to do that, maybe after bicycle ride, is some beer experiences. And maybe again, just sticking with the Flanders Fields, there are a lot of beer experiences in the area. Some of the best breweries in Belgium come actually from that area. So for example, the brewery St. Bernardus, which is in the upper right-hand corner, Trappist Brewery, West Vletteren, which are the two lower pictures, or also the Hop Museum in Poperinge, where the upper left-hand picture was taken. And again, these are all 4 pictures that I took myself about a year and a half ago, exploring the beer experiences in Flanders Fields. But of course, let's talk about not just Flanders Fields and the beer there. Some facts and figures that are really amazing for Belgium is that by now there's over 420 breweries in Belgium, about 16 to 1700 different beers. We're producing about 25 million hectoliters of beer every year. The world's largest beer brewing company is located in Flanders in Leuven, AB InBev. Over 70% of the beer is exported. Some of the best beer cafes in the world are located in Flanders. And we have won many international awards for our beers, but also for chocolates, for our chefs, for the cooking, the culinary heritage. Very interestingly, 2016, the UNESCO declared the Belgian beer culture an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. So if you're doing the math, 2016, that means that next year, 2026, it will be the 10-year recognition of the Belgian beer culture. So we'll definitely lift a glass to that and say cheers to 10 years of UNESCO World recognition. So why is Belgian beer very special? Number one, it goes back a long tradition to the Middle Ages of brewing the beer in Flanders. It goes back to the tradition of cultivating hops in the area, of growing hops there. That's why there is a hop museum. Admittedly, the hop production output is relatively small in comparison to other countries, but still there is hop production going on. There's a number of family brewers, so it's not just only dominated by the big global enterprises like AB InBev, but a number of small family brewers. There's a great diversity in the ingredients that you find in Belgian beers, from cherries and herbs and spices, all typical ingredients that you often do not find in other beers. There's also diversity in the type of fermentation, from open vat fermentation to barrel fermentation, producing different types of beers. And the end result, you can see here, a huge variety of different beers, different beer styles. It also goes back in terms of the historic heritage, the way the ingredients, for example, were prepared. What you see here is actually called the Groothuis, which basically means the herb and spices dealer, or the house of the herb and spices dealer. And these are the people that possess the monopoly on beer, herbs, and spices in the Middle Ages, and they became very, very rich and could afford those inner city mansions and manor houses. It also goes back to the breweries in itself, which now are still operating and you can tour them. Or this is actually a brewery that is no longer used and is now used as a meeting and convention venue. It also goes back to heritage, to really coming together in a bar and enjoying a beer, and crafting true quality output. True quality beers is not about just industrial mass production. It's also a great way to combine beer and food, gastronomic experiences. Food and beer pairing is really hot. Just enjoying a pint together as a group in a pub, and really exploring the different types of beers that you have. As you can see, here is a little bit of an atypical beer bottle, atypical at least for North America, that it actually has a cork and it looks more like a wine or champagne bottle. And it's also about the good togetherness, going to festivals, exploring what's new. And last but not least, also about tourism. If you want to come over and explore, send your clients to the different breweries, the beer museums, the festivals, absolutely, it's a great way to explore what Flanders and Belgium have to offer. We have a number of new beer experiences that have been updated in the last couple of years, all across the country. So, for example, the St. Bernardus Brewery, which is in the Flanders Fields area, has a new digital visitor experience, self-guided tour. The Rodenbach Brewery, which is not too far away from the Flanders Fields area, where you can see where the beer is aged in those barrels. They offer a blending workshop, because some of the Rodenbach beers are actually a blend of different beers. So you can create your own blend or send your clients there, of course, to create the blend. The Havemaan Brewery is right in the heart of Bruges. They've also updated their visitor experiences and made it more interactive, more digital. The Kort Brewery and Distillery is very interesting. It's in the southern part of Flanders. Number one, it's a distillery as well. So Belgium is not just only about beer, but also about distilling Genevers, whiskeys, and so on. And this guy, the owner, actually went there about half a year ago. He used to be working in IT, and he figured IT was not his calling, and he opened up this brewery and distillery, and he does some amazing beers, some amazing whiskeys and gins. Great way to see what he has to offer. Boone Brewery produces a very interesting beer because that's based on natural fermentation. Gueuze and Lambic beers, which is in the area south of Brussels. Three Fontaine, which is also a Gueuze blender. So as you can see, these are all beers that are actually matured in barrels. So they almost look like wine barrels or whiskey barrels. So if you don't know it's beer in there, there is actually beer in there. Belgian Beer World Experience, which is in the former stock exchange of the city of Brussels, is a great way to get a head start and learn the basics about the Belgian beer culture. Then Grimbergen, just on the outskirts of Brussels, is an Abbey brewery, so you can enjoy the Abbey beers. They also have amazing cheeses, by the way. Het Anker Brewery has updated the visit experiences. Het Anker is in Mechelen, so not too far away from Brussels. Hof ten Dormaal is between Mechelen and Leuven. A very interesting brewery because it is actually a farm, and they literally farm every single ingredient they need for the beers. Everything is grown locally, the barley, the hops, everything done locally on the farm. De Achelse Cloister or Clus Abbey, close to the border to the Netherlands. This used to be a Trappist abbey, but fortunately, they only had one or two Trappist monks left 2 or 3 years ago, and then it was actually sold now to a commercial company, but they still brew their beer there. Also have amazing cheeses. So in summary, the Belgian beer comes real in a lot of different varieties and flavors. There's unique fermentation processes. Every beer has its own glass. And Belgians take the beers very seriously, as serious as the French take the wine. Beer and food pairings are really hot. And there are, apart from it's like just going to the pub, a number of traditional breweries, brew museums, beer cafes, festivals, beer tours. So it's a great way to really discover the beverage culture in the destination. But as said, it's more than just beer. Belgium is also slowly but surely exceeding in wine, whiskey, and gin. Maybe give us another 3, 4, 5 years, and we'll talk about those as well. Now moving on to the culinary experiences. Flanders is at the crossroads of Europe and combines a lot of influences and creativity from all around the world in the cuisine and the cooking. So why should we even worry about culinary? People sometimes say, I've always wanted to be on a diet trip. Like, why even bother about food? Or I can bring my own food, or I can always go to McDonald's. No, 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 so wrong, so wrong. So what is actually food tourism? Food tourism is the act of traveling for a taste of place in order to get a sense of place. And that is a definition by the World Food Travel Association. And who are the food travelers? And you will find that these are more educated, adventurous, and curious travelers. And 53% of leisure travelers are actually food travelers. So if somebody is interested in exploring new foodie destinations among your clients, Belgium, Flanders is definitely the place you want to send them. Number one, we have the comfort food. Chocolate is food in my definition. So Flanders really breathes chocolate. There's almost 800,000 tons of chocolate produced. There's a lot of innovative chocolate products, creating shocking combinations. Like, who thought chocolate and wasabi goes together? But yes, they do. Every village or town has a chocolatier. So overall, there's over 320 artisanal chocolate makers, chocolate museums, workshop tours, and we eat the chocolates, we cook with it, and we use it for health and wellness. Of course, there's the famous Belgian fries, another comfort food, the Belgian waffles, and of course, mussels in Brussels. It's a foodie destination, but apart from that, we also have world-class high-end fine dining experiences. Who would have thought of that? So what is world-class food? Dining is really like a national pastime in Flanders. Food is taken seriously. There's a lot of unique local products. We even promote young chefs, the Flemish Kitchen Rebels, the Belgian fries. They are actually on our government's list of intentional cultural heritage. You have unique locations where you can have dinners and unique hotels at the canals, at the rivers, in the castle. Lots of food events going on, culinary events. There's gastronomy, so the pairing of beer and food. Cooking classes where you learn how to make Belgian waffles, Belgian fries, maybe even with a cooking class with a Michelin star, and incredible value. Your dollar will go a very, very long way in Flanders. The food is not expensive. Now, talking about Michelin star dining, and that is why I said world-class fine dining, this is really where Flanders, Belgium excels, because we are home to 138 Michelin star rated restaurants in Belgium, and that is approximately 4.8% of all Michelin star rated restaurants in the whole world. And that is a huge number for this small destination. So let's watch a short video about the culinary experiences in Flanders.
Look at the life of a real soil.
What we're looking at here is pure cultural history.
You are an artist. You want to work with the best product, eh?
So the Belgian chocolatiers, they thrive on quality.
We have to look at nature gifts.
Original, tasteful, and full of history and heritage. From sauce to beers, people want sustainable and locally produced food. You're an aquaponic farm. What does that mean?
Belgian chocolate is constantly innovating.
Man, if you could smell this right now.
And what's the secret? Tradition.
And craftsmanship.
Of course. This is food pairing in its purest form.
We are innovating our way of serving gastronomy.
All right. So hopefully somebody didn't get too hungry. I know for some of you it's still lunchtime, but just to give you a little bit of flavor of the culinary experiences in Flanders. Now let's move on to heritage and art in our destination. So this is also one of the reasons why people want to come, quote unquote, to old Europe to experience the heritage. What you can see here is the Grand Place in Brussels, which is also a UNESCO World Heritage Square, well-preserved medieval square. That's what people want to see. The cobblestones, the plazas, the squares, the cathedrals. Right on the Grand Place here, we got Brussels City Hall. As you can see, a very beautiful medieval building. The Royal Palace in Brussels, because Belgium is a kingdom. The romantic cities like Bruges here, where you can wander around the medieval city, be on the market square, maybe take a horse and carriage ride, or climb the tower here. It's called the Belfry, which was a medieval watchtower, and then have a fantastic view of the city. Or explore Antwerp. At night in Flanders in Belgium, they do a fantastic job about illuminating the buildings, the cathedrals. We have fantastic city views and nightscapes. It's wonderful. But also, of course, modern architecture. It's not just only the old stuff, and it makes an eclectic mix of the old and the new. What you see here is the Port Authority in the Port of Antwerp. Again, another picture here of Ghent, a night view. A number of castles in Belgium on a per square kilometer basis, actually one of the highest densities in the world. What you see here is the Castle of the Counts in Ghent. There's over 3,000 castles in Belgium. Over 400 are accessible to the public. And if you do the math, it actually means then 2,600 are personal private properties. Unfortunately, I do not own a castle. That's why I still have to work for Visit Flanders and promote Flanders. I'd rather sit in the castle and relax, but unfortunately, I don't get to do that. What you see here is also a city castle in Antwerp. And it's actually where the tourist office is, and all cruise ship passengers, if you have any river cruises or ocean cruises, they will actually exit the city through this castle here. Just on the outside of Brussels, we got Mese, which is a water castle here. We got castles where they have flower shows, but also art in castles. So art in situ, castles with a fantastic art collection, but also other heritage that is surprising, like lace, is very dominant in Flanders, in Belgium. When you go lace shopping, always make sure you buy the expensive lace. Not that I want to drain your precious dollars out of your pocket, but the expensive one is still handmade, versus the cheaper one tends to be industrially made. So quality does have its price. But also great heritage of tapestry making. There's one tapestry maker in Mechelen. They've produced hundreds of medieval tapestry for all castles around Europe, and they still restore them. You can visit them and see how they do that. There's also other intangible heritage, which is shrimp fishing on horseback. So you can see they ride out into the North Sea, have their baskets there. They pull some nets with the horses, and that's how they fish for shrimp. And you can watch it during certain times. But also a number of modern festivals, music festivals, lifestyle festivals. We already talked a little bit about food festivals, beer festivals, performing arts. So Flanders truly is a festival. Here an image of a beer festival in Brussels at the Grand Place. Ghent Festival, which is a 10-day festival in July. It is the third largest festival in Europe. As you can see, a lot of performances going on during this festival. So if you have any clients that really want to dive into local culture, that's a great time to visit. But also great art. By art, I mean art from the Renaissance, art from the Baroque. What you see here in the background is the Ghent altarpiece, the first northern Renaissance painting in the world that was created by Jan van Eyck. And if you think the painting looks a little bit familiar, it could be because of a 2014 Hollywood movie that featured the painting during the time of the Second World War. And the movie was called The Monuments Man, where Matt Damon, George Clooney, John Goodman were American GIs that had to retrieve the painting in World War II from Nazi Germany. Part of the painting is being restored right now in the Museum of Fine Arts in Ghent, so you can actually see the restoration, how they do that. It's actually a painstaking exercise of literally working microscopic paint particle by paint particle. You also have great museums where art is displayed. For example, Maya van den Berg in Antwerp. Maya van den Berg was a wealthy merchant in the Middle Ages and accumulated an amazing art collection. You have Rubens' house in Antwerp, Peter Paul Rubens, the famous Flemish master. Fortunately, the Rubens' house is currently closed for renovations, but part of the museum is open, the garden is open. You have other fantastic art museums all across Flanders, like here the Koninklijke Museum in Bruges, or the Royal Museum of Fine Arts in Antwerp that only reopened again in September 22 after more than 10-year renovation. Or if you don't make it to Antwerp, to the Royal Museum of Fine Arts, there's also a Royal Museum of Fine Arts in Brussels. For example, here a Bruegel painting. Bruegel is one of the great artists that really depicted life in the Middle Ages. So he was not a portrait painter that painted a lot of the royals, but he really painted more of the everyday life. And now I will make a little bit of a provocative statement here, because if you zoom in to the picture here and look at the winter sports that we were doing in Flanders back then this awfully looks like curling to me. So I guess they were doing curling in the Middle Ages already. And what's this guy doing there with a hockey puck and swinging a hockey stick? So maybe curling and ice hockey were invented in Flanders? Could that be? I think so. But also modern art festivals where you have installations throughout the area. They happen about every 3 years. For example, here's Beaufort, which is an art festival at the coast, or the Triennale in Bruges, which also offers a lot of art installations throughout the area. And with that being said, let's watch one more final video before we get to the questions and answers. And this video is about our Flemish masters. And by Flemish masters, what we mean are basically not just our painters, but everyone that is a master in the trade, like the chefs, the cyclists, manufacturers, and so on. Oops, this is the wrong video here. Let me just go back, sorry. And there we go. Oops. Yes.
For ages, Flanders has been home to the old masters. Still today, Flanders is the place where new ideas are born against a historical backdrop. Are you ready to explore? Nibble on the chocolate beard of Rubens' self-portrait. Experience the winter in Flanders like white powder on your waffles, or pedal your way through Bruegelian landscapes. Adore the mystic lamb in the Ghent altarpiece, showing the holy traditions. When Icarus falls, Antwerp's fashion catches. Observe Van Eyck, the first master of oil painting. As a true Margaretha Van Eyck, eat Belgian fries with pride and enjoy the craftsmanship of one of Belgium's foamiest beers. Where Rubens' cross descents, move on the lines of his art. Taste the history of Flanders' culinary treasures. Be a Bruegel rebel angel and party in the land of tomorrow. Come to the heart of Europe to wear, taste, hear, smell, show, and honor our Flemish masters. Together, they make Flanders state of the art. Are you ready to stir your senses?
All right, so hopefully you had a little bit of an idea what the Flemish Masters and what Flanders is all about. So with that being said, let's just wrap up my presentation part. So Flanders, Belgium is really world-class art and heritage. The two sections that we just talked about. amazing UNESCO heritage recognized beers, gastronomy, culinary treasures with almost 5% of all globally Michelin-rated restaurants, great cycling to stretch your legs for all skill and interest levels. So everything can be found in Flanders, which is the heart of Europe, less than 2 hours from London, less than 2 hours from Paris, less than 2 hours from Amsterdam, less than 2 hours from Cologne, all by train. Very easy to reach. So what are you waiting for? We'll see you and your clients in Flanders. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marco, for that presentation. So now I think we'll move on to the Q&A portion. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A chat box. I see that we already have a few great questions that we got during the presentation. So I'll start with Carol. So Carol asked, which are the World War I or World War II sites that are significant for Canadians?
World War I or World War II?
She's asking which one.
So World War I is more significant for Canada than World War II in terms of the sites in Flanders. So the most significant sites for World War I are in the Flanders Fields area, as at the Ypres area, Passchendaele, the commemorations of the Third Battle of Ypres, which is also known as the Battle of Passchendaele. 1917. So again, we'll have the 110-year anniversary coming up. The Canadian Memorial, the Broding Soldier, is in that area as well. So I would say the World War I sites that are relevant for Canadians are all in Flanders. World War II, there aren't too many sites per se in Flanders. In generally speaking, what was relevant World War II more happened in the French part of Belgium, what is known as the Battle of the Bulge, and also maybe the harbor of Antwerp. So World War II sites are not that dominant in Flanders. It's primarily about World War I.
Awesome, thank you. We have another question from Susan, who says, what is expected weather in mid-February, as I am contemplating a week there for my birthday?
All right. Hard for me to forecast the weather for February, but let's just keep it general. So if it gets cold, you might have a little bit of snow, but snow usually does not stick. So it means if we're talking about February, my guesstimate is it would be probably around 5 degrees Celsius. You know, it might be a little bit chilly, but it's not like you have very cold weather where we're talking about minus temperatures. As that usually it's not freezing. Usually snow does not stick. So expect somewhere between, let's say, you know, if it's frost at night, maybe -2, -3 if it's really, and then daytime temperatures around 5, 6 degrees Celsius. Of course, it's hard to predict since we always have now outliers. It might be also like 10 degrees in February, or it might just be a little bit colder, but roughly around that.
Awesome. We also have another question from Carol. Carol asks, is Antwerp worth visiting if you have about 6 nights in Belgium?
I would say Antwerp, absolutely. So how would I characterize Antwerp? So Antwerp is a seaport city, so you do have a very eclectic mix of old and new in Antwerp. So you have fantastic old architecture, fantastic art museum, but you also have an amazing, vibrant restaurant scene, cocktail bars. Europe's best cocktail bar is in Antwerp. So if you want to try, you know, anything other than beer, go to the best European cocktail bar. There's also modern art museums, photo museums. So Antwerp is really a vibrant city. And also in the character of an Antwerpian, because it is a seaport city, they are familiar with all these people coming and going. So it's been a seaport city for centuries. It's definitely an absolute, I would say, a must to visit Antwerp.
Awesome. I think we have a few more questions here. We also have time for additional questions. So again, if you have any more questions, put them in the chat box. But I have a question here from Lynn that says, can we get a list of festivals for next summer?
So the list of festivals is long. I do not have a comprehensive list of all the festivals because that would probably be the size of a phone book. But if we could narrow it down to, okay, are we looking at more like art festivals? Are we looking at food festivals? Are we looking at beer festivals? Then we can definitely, I can point in the right direction and put together some of the most important festivals. I think every festival probably is impossible. There's just too many going on.
For sure. Awesome. Okay. And then I have another question here from Ruth that says, if in France, is it easy to get there?
Yes, of course, it depends where you are in France. If you say like in Toulouse, that's almost the furthest you can be in France, then it might be a little more challenging, or not challenging, it might just take a little bit longer. But let's assume you are in Paris. There's a high-speed train, the Eurostar from Paris to Brussels is a short 1 hour and 22-minute ride. And trains run frequently, so it's not like there's only one train every day. There's one train almost every hour. So train run frequently, as I said, from Paris to Brussels, 1 hour 22. And if you're a little bit further away, let's say you're in Toulouse, you're in Nice, you're in Marseille, then you can of course always take a flight on Brussels Airlines or any other airline, but it's really easy to get to.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much, Marco. And then I believe, Marco, you also provided a reference sheet as well that was entered here into the webinar. But everyone who's in attendance will also receive a PDF of that in the email that we will be sending out. That will also have the link to the recorded webinar if you want to go back and rewatch it. Lynn also says, looking for beer, food, and art in August.
Beer, food, art. Okay. I'm taking notes. All right. Awesome. I'll reach out.
And okay, so Marco, do you have any last words before I wrap up the webinar today?
I would just like to thank everybody for attending, taking time out of your schedule. I know you're busy. You get bombarded with lots of requests to attend webinars. I know I was not just the only one today doing a webinar. There's many other people out there competing for your time and attention. So thank you so much that you gave your attention to me. And by all means, also within your agency, within your circle of agent friends, feel free to share the link that you will get for the replay. The more people know about Flanders, the better. And by all means, my email, I think, is still here visible on the screen. Reach out to me. I'm quote unquote local. Local meaning I'm based in New York because Flanders can only have one office for all of North America. So I work out of New York and cover all of Canada and all of the US. But it's like we're here to help, give you tips, hints, and we connect you with the right hotels, the right DMCs, and just reach out at any time.
Awesome. A huge thank you again to Marco for this presentation. So as the webcast ends, you will be redirected to the Visit Flanders website where you can learn more. We'll be sending the recording link from today's webcast to each of you in the next few days, and it will be uploaded to the Baxter Media's YouTube channel, where you can also find all of our past webcast recordings. The link that's pinned at the top of the chat will take you to our website where you can sign up for more upcoming webcasts. Stay connected with Baxter Media by following us on LinkedIn for updates on upcoming webcasts. Our next webcast is scheduled for Wednesday, December 3rd, and will feature Diego Perez from CIE Tours. Join us to explore CIE Tours' expanding selection of guided vacations across Britain, Italy, Spain, and Iceland. So with that, why don't we wrap things up? Thank you again to Marco, and thank you to everyone for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.